Today's selection will be No Trouble at the River. Sometimes I feel mistreated. Sometimes I feel defeated. And sometimes I feel like I should just give up. But when I think about that old Jordan, one day I gotta cross that chilly old Jordan, and I don't want no trouble when it's time for me to cross to the other side. Sometimes I feel mistreated. Sometimes I feel defeated. And sometimes I feel like I should just give up. But when I think about that old Jordan, one day I gotta cross that chilly old Jordan, and I
The oracles of the UCI, beginning at 1 Peter chapter 4, verses 7 through 11. But the end of all things is at hand. Be you therefore sober, and watch unto prayer. And above all things have fervent love among yourselves, for love shall cover the multitude of sins. Use hospitality one to another without grudging. As every man has received the gift, even so minister the same one to another as good stewards of the manifold grace of Elohim. If any man speak, let him speak as the oracles of Elohim. If any man minister, let him do it as of the ability which Elohim gives, that Elohim in all things may be glorified through Yahshua the Mashiach, to whom be praise and dominion forever and ever. Amen. Ephesians chapter 4, verses 29 through chapter 5 and verse 4. Let no corrupt communication proceed out of your mouth, but that which is good to the use of edifying, that it may minister grace unto the hearers. And grieve not the Holy Spirit of Elohim, whereby you are sealed until the day of redemption. Let all bitterness and wrath and anger and clamor and evil speaking be put away from you with all malice. And be you kind one to another, tender-hearted, forgiving one another, even as Elohim for Yahshua's sake has forgiven you. Be you therefore followers of Elohim as dear children, and walk in love, as the Mashiach also have loved us, and has given himself for us an offering and sacrifice to Elohim for a sweet-smelling savor. But fornication and all uncleanness or covetousness, let it not be once named among you as becomes saints. Neither filthiness, nor foolish talking, nor jesting, which are not convenient, but rather giving of thanks. Ecclesiastes chapter 5, verses 1 and 2. Keep your foot when you go to the house of Elohim, and be more ready to hear than to give the sacrifice of fools, for they consider not that they do evil. Be not rash with your mouth, and let not your heart be hasty to utter anything before Elohim. For Elohim is in heaven, and you upon earth, therefore let your words be few. Exodus chapter 23, verses 20 and 21. Behold, I send an angel before you to keep you in the way, and to bring you into the place which I have prepared. Beware of him, and obey his voice. Provoke him not, for he will not pardon your transgressions, for my name is in him. Revelations chapter 3, verses 20 through 22. Behold, I stand at the door and knock. If any man hear my voice and open the door, I will come in to him, and will sup with him, and he with me. To him that overcomes will I grant to sit with me in my throne, even as I have also overcame and am sat down with my Father in his throne. He that has an ear, let him hear what the Spirit says unto the churches.
All right, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Which is peace on Yahweh's holy Sabbath day. Welcome to another holy convocation that Yahweh has enjoined unto us here in Stone Mountain, Georgia. What we're going to deal with today is the countenance of a man, and understand the power of those things. We kind of take it for granted that when we look in the mirror, we see what we see. But it never does occur to us that other people may not perceive that the way that you perceive that. There are things that you may know about yourself, but without that knowledge to other individuals, it may appear like that quality or that thing may be something altogether different. So the question is, do we do what is needed to make sure that that is perceived in the correct manner? We must remember that it says the word must be easily entreated. So if the word must be easily entreated, how easy is it for someone to approach you to speak about the word? And if they perceive the countenance of you as something different, do they then slow down on their approach, or don't approach at all because they're not aware of what it is they are looking at? Now, we often hear, don't judge a book by its cover. We must understand the difference between examining the countenance of a person as opposed to judging someone's life by how they look. When we look at someone and begin to guess what they will do in their lifetime based on how they look, That is called judging a book by its cover. Examining the countenance of an individual is a more immediate assessment. It is about examining the spirit that that individual is entertaining at that exact moment. Let's begin today's sermon in Genesis chapter 4. This is something that is a very powerful thing to do, because if you pay attention to certain situations, you can remove yourself from them before they get out of hand. There are many people that have looked back at a situation right before a robbery or a fight, and when they played it back in their mind, they said, oh, right at this moment, I should have removed myself. They didn't, because not paying attention to the spirit. When you deal with the countenance, it's just not a situation of the look that's on somebody's face. It's the body language. It's the words that come out of their mouth. And in saying that, that means you have to also think about the things that we're dealing with as well. You have to constantly examine the countenance of other individuals while looking and thinking about what you are projecting as well. Because you may be receiving something only because your countenance put that out first. When you look, I've noticed that as you're walking along the street, there are homeless people that'll ask for money. They don't ask everybody. And I sat back and I watched. So the people who didn't want to get asked for money, they completely disfigure their face. So the person look elsewhere. And they did that on purpose. They knew the power of changing their countenance to a negative outlook. Then it lessened the possibility that someone will walk up to them. Now, the difference is that's done on purpose. The question is, do we do any of that accidentally? That's $1 million question. Let's go to Genesis chapter 4, and let's start that at verse 1.
And Adam knew Eve his wife, and she conceived, and bare Cain, and said, I've gotten a man from Yahweh. And she again bare his brother Abel, and Abel was a keeper of sheep, but Cain was a tiller of the ground. And in process of time it came to pass that Cain brought of the fruit of the ground an offering unto Yah. And Abel he also brought of the firstlings of his flock and of the fat thereof.
Right. Now, we already have went over the difference in the offerings, and that Abel offered the first of his fruit, the first of his increase. That was a better offering than what Cain offered. Not the part of the offering, whether or not this one had blood or that one. So it's different levels of that. But the bottom line was it was the first fruit. So that is what it is. Keep going.
And Yahweh had respect unto Abel and to his offering. But unto Cain and to his offering he had not respect. And Cain was very angry, and his countenance fell.
So now, upon examining his countenance, Yahweh can see some things. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Cain, Why are you angry? And why is your countenance fallen?
Now, I want you to go and read this, the definition of countenance here.
Countenance from H6440, panim, plural, but also used as a singular of an unused noun, pane, from 6437. The face, as the part that turns, used in a great variety of applications: anger, favor, fear, fear of, or heaviness.
So these are just examples, because it was a very, very long list of possibilities in how this is used. But then you have to consider what is it talking about. These things are perceived by the body language. Do you understand that they send agents to school on how to monitor people's body language? What do you think those people are doing when they do interrogations and all of those things in a higher level? They have been trained to look at every movement, every breath. They're monitoring everything and how the individual moves. And you know, sometimes the best way to tell some things is to stop listening. You ever turned the sound on a movie off and you can tell exactly what's going on in the movie based on how they're looking? See, both of those things are going hand in hand, so you don't have to necessarily hear every word to be able to perceive the spirit that that individual is dealing with. But now we have a different thing that has come in, and it's called corporate America. Well, they taught us how to be nasty. See, that's nice nasty. Where we have been taught to insult one another while smiling, degrade one another with a humongous smile on our face. That goes against the normal order of how things are set up. But we learn these tricks in corporate America. And the problem is we took those tricks home, and our kids have learned those little nicety tricks. And now there's some issues here that now it's not one of those things where it's just not easy to examine someone's countenance, because now we purposely throw strange things in there. Go ahead, bro. Start at verse 7.
Verse 7. If you does well, shall you not be accepted? And if you does not well, sin lies at the door, and unto you shall be his desire, and you shall rule over him. And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass, when they were in the field, that Cain rose up against Abel his brother, and slew him.
Now, this was within a period of time that this thing happened. He sought for an opportunity to do something to his brother because his offering was not accepted. But you have to go back to the beginning part. How did Yahweh know that this was about to happen? Now, servants and worshipers of Yah understand his great power and abilities. So it goes without saying that the great I Am was able to foresee the trouble that Cain would eventually get into. What we often miss is how Yah was able to tell that Cain was headed for a fall. It was not by his great prophetic abilities. It was not by his omnipotence or omnipresence. It was simply by looking at the countenance upon Cain's face. The look on his face was a testament to what was in his heart. Go ahead.
And Cain talked with Abel his brother, and it came to pass when they were in the field that Cain rose up against Abel his brother and slew him.
So Yahweh didn't need a prophetic vision to see what he was going to get into. What he saw was, something ain't right about your countenance, boy. I'm telling you now. You headed for some trouble. See, these are those things that our parents would tell us back in the days, and we were like, nah, I ain't finna do no. Why are you saying that? Next thing you know, there's a call from the office. Miss Johnson, I need you to come down here and get this boy. He done acted a plumb fool in here. Didn't I tell you were gonna act a fool? Didn't I tell you? Yeah, but mama, how you know I was gonna act a fool? Because you was walking foolish before you left here. You have foolish all in you. Everything in you. And brothers, sometimes when we get ready to act a fool, we'll shadow box a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You know when a brother going to school to get in a fight, because he practicing fighting in the mirror. I ain't the only one done it. And your mama come around the corner, what you doing? Nothing. You about to get suspended. No, I ain't. She got that call in a couple hours. Come get him. He said, boy, I told you about to get kicked out. I saw your countenance before you left here. You had anger and aggression on your spirit before you left the house. So what you think they're going to turn into when you run into somebody else? Now that anger and aggression, all that is going to be projected at somebody. Go ahead.
You know, the thing about it is, if you work in a controlled environment where you're with the same people all the time, those people tend to just say, oh, that's just the way they are.
Mm-hmm.
And you tend to put that within yourself, that's just the way I am, and don't make an effort to change.
Mm-hmm.
But when you've got to deal with a constant change of people throughout the day, you will learn that your countenance can bring you problem, like you stated earlier. Somebody will snap on you and you'll be wild. Well, what's the problem? Because when they approach you, they saw the look on your face.
Mm-hmm.
You and I, in the environment that we're in, we might have a horrible experience at the first job.
You got it.
But by the time we get in that car, on the way to the next job, hey man, we've got to put that all behind us.
You got to wipe that countenance, whatever that you received from that other one, or else you bringing that to the next one.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to think about, a lot of times we'll get to those places and you encounter the Spanish guy who don't know a bit of English. How does he get you to leave him alone? He don't understand a damn thing you're saying. A smile, sin. I tell people, do you understand how powerful that is? You don't even got to know the language. That's it. Conversation over. But there was no negativity between me and that individual. Why? Because he let it be known, look, I don't understand what you're saying, but here's my offering of peace. And it worked. That simple. Go ahead.
Genesis chapter 4 and verse 9. And Yahweh said unto Cain, where is Abel your brother? And he said, I know not. Am I my brother's keeper?
This is the next part about a countenance. It's not just about what is displayed on your face. Listen to the words that came out of his mouth. The words are aggression. I know not. Am I my brother's keeper? Oh, you said that with your chest. Go ahead.
And he said, what have you done? The voice of your brother's blood cries unto me from the ground. And now are you cursed from the earth, which has opened her mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. When you tilleth the ground, it shall not henceforth yield unto you her strength. A fugitive and a vagabond shall you be in the earth. And Cain said unto Yah, my punishment is greater than I can bear.
Now, it is so amazing that the people who have zero mercy for anybody else, it is the first thing that they ask for when they get in an altercation. They have zero let down in any point. But when they get in a bind, they want mercy. My punishment is greater than I can bear. Wait a minute, man. Your brother dead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
Behold, you have driven me out this day from the face of the earth.
Right. You done cast me out. This is greater than I can bear. Go ahead.
And from your face shall I be hid, and I shall be a fugitive and a vagabond in the earth. And it shall come to pass that everyone that finds me shall slay me. And Yahweh said unto Cain, therefore whosoever slays Cain, verse 15, and Yahweh said unto him, therefore whosoever slays Cain, vengeance shall be taken on him sevenfold. And Yahweh set a mark upon Cain, lest any finding him should kill him.
So that is a very interesting situation there, because a lot of times I've noticed where situations were done and then people use their continued existence on earth as Yahweh has protected them, or Yahweh believes in what they're doing. Yahweh in no way agreed with Cain's dealings, yet he didn't let nobody kill him. Now imagine if he's going around bragging about what he's done. Hey, you see Yahweh didn't do nothing to me, right? Hey, who here? Who here? That's right, the killer. That's right. See, sometimes we get confused as to why we're still here. See, this could have easily been perceived as it's okay what I'm doing because I'm still here. That ain't necessarily what that means. Go ahead and finish that up.
And Cain went out from the presence of Yahweh and dwelt in the land of Nod, east of Eden. And Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bare Enoch.
So now, not only has he been able to live, now he's able to procreate. Go ahead.
And he built a city and called the name of the city after the name of
Oh,
his
he's
son.
prospering financially. You can't tell people if they continue to live and get any kind of financial blessing. Oh, God must agree with me. He ain't agree with this dude. Go ahead.
And called the name of the city after the name of his son Enoch. And unto Enoch was born Irad, and Irad begot Mehujael, and Mehujael begot Methusael, and Methusael begot Lamech.
Now, when we examine the punishment of Cain, it is obvious that he was allowed to continue life, even though he took his brother's life away. He was allowed to marry and to reproduce. He was allowed to see generation after generation proceed from his lineage. The mere fact that life goes on after wickedness is enough for some to believe that Yahweh is pleased with their deeds. This continuance of life sometimes gives way to boasting, which demonstrates that there is a lack of understanding of how the Father really works. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 2. Second Peter chapter 2, and we're going to read verses 1 through 9.
Verse 1. But there were false prophets also among the people, even as there shall be false teachers among you, who privily shall bring in damnable heresies, even denying the Adonai that bought them, and bring upon themselves swift destruction. And many shall follow their pernicious ways, by reason of whom the way of truth shall be evil spoken of.
And sometimes this is how Yahweh pauses to test the heart of men, that he won't deal with something right away. So this is a damnable heresy. But if I stop it right now, I won't see who all sympathetic to it. Let me let it go on for a second. Let's see how many people are persuaded by the damnable heresy. Go ahead.
And through covetousness shall they with feigned words make merchandise of you, whose judgment now of a long time lingers not, and their damnation slumbers not. For if Elohim spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment.
To be reserved unto judgment. Not judgment yet. Go ahead.
And spared not the old world, but saved Noah the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly.
Right. Life was able to continue not because of man's righteousness, but because of Noah's righteousness. Go ahead.
And turning the cities of Sodom and Gomorrah into ashes, condemned them with an overthrow, making them an ensample unto those that after should live ungodly. And delivered just Lot, vexed with the filthy conversation of the wicked. For that righteous man dwelling among them, in seeing and hearing, vexed his righteous soul from day to day with their unlawful deeds.
Now, this right here gives a very interesting situation here in dealing with and delivered just Lot. Okay, so when you talk about that there's judgment coming to a place and only this one individual was the one that was saved out of this, and then it says that this righteous man dwelling among them. So we automatically know that Lot was not like the people that he lived amongst. But we have to consider something, you know, was Lot as righteous as they are listing him to be? Was this his saving? Was it about Lot's deeds, or was it more about something else? Finish that up, bro.
The Adonai knows how to deliver the godly out of the temptations. And to reserve the unjust unto the day of judgment.
To reserve the unjust for the day of judgment. So whereas some think their continued life is a stamp of approval from Yahweh, it is a reservation of judgment for Yahweh. He said, oh, no. See, if I kill you, you're going to stop. No, go right ahead. Cause I want to make this court date absolutely fantabulous when you show back up. Go, keep on going. No, do it again. Go ahead. See, when you got 1 or 2 charges, you stand an opportunity. You know, you might get probation. But when you show up and you got 32 charges, hey man, why you even sitting through the trial? Why you wasting these folk time? You know what I'm saying? Yana, can I just ask what particular jail I want to go in? That you might just ask. I like coastal jails, if you don't mind. I like to feel the salt air. You know, if you just what you going to jail? You got too many charges. How does he allow those charges? By letting you keep doing it. That's how your charges stacking up. So while one person is boasting about their continued ability to do whatever it is, they stacking up charges. What Yahweh do to his children is he pop them. Pop! Stop, boy. Sit down, little girl. Like, oh my goodness, my whole left side hurt. What happened? Right. Yahweh did that. But then you feeling bad. Well, look at them. They been doing evil the whole time and ain't nobody stop them. Right, because that's Lucifer's job. Yahweh don't discipline other people's children. He discipline his. You finish that up, bro?
To be punished.
All right. Now, most of us have heard of the term guilty by association. This means that if an individual or a group of individuals are associated with certain negative activities, it will be assumed that everyone who is seen with them also takes part in those activities. Now, we know that this assumption is not always true. What is also not always true is the opposing term, and that is innocence by association. This is where wrongdoers align themselves with innocent people so that they may appear to be righteous. A classic example would be the parable of the 10 virgins given by Christ. In this parable, 5 virgins were wise and 5 were foolish. In the daylight, they all looked the same. But in the dark of night, it was apparent that the foolish had no oil for their lamps. We must also take note that oil is a symbol of the Holy Spirit. So the foolish virgins had no spirit. These foolish virgins were innocent by association until their true nature was revealed. Let's go to Genesis chapter 12.
Genesis chapter 12 and verse 1. Now Yahweh had said unto Abram, Get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto a land that I will show you. And I will make of you a great nation, and I'll bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing.
All right. Now, you have to pay attention to Yahweh is being very direct in the calling of Abram. Now, Yahweh has said unto Abram, Get you out of your country and from your kindred. That's your folks. So this right here automatically throws people off that Yahweh would say, get away from your family. You mean my family? Yeah, your family, they're crazy. They worship idols. They do all of this stuff. I'm going to need you to get away from there. The beginning of his calling, he already knows his family worship idols. So the beginning of his calling, Yahweh is already trying to separate him from his family. He says, get you out of your country and from your kindred and from your father's house unto a land that I will show you. Go ahead.
Verse 3. And I'll bless them that bless you, and curse him that curse you.
Right. Verse 2, he says, I will make of you a great nation, and I will bless you and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing, and I will bless them that bless you. Yahweh not confused as to who he dealing with. Go ahead.
And curse him that curse you, and in you shall all families of the earth be blessed.
So they're going to get their blessings through you. Here is where you get the interesting part of innocent by association, because there are blessings that come on some individuals just because they near somebody else. Go ahead.
So Abram departed as Yahweh had spoken unto him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he departed out of Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their substance that they had together.
I'm sorry. Abram took Sarai his wife. Everything Yahweh said was, and you, and you, and you, and you. And then he left and said, Lot, come on. He said, and you, and you. Lot, what's taking you so long? Great.
And all their substance that they had gathered, and the souls that they had gotten in Haran, and they went forth to go into the land of Canaan, and into the land of Canaan they came. And Abram passed through the land unto the place of Sichem, unto the plain of Moreh, and the Canaanite was then in the land. And Yahweh appeared unto Abram, and said, Unto your seed will I give this land. And there built he an altar unto Yahweh, who appeared unto him. And he removed from thence unto a mountain on the east of Bethel, and pitched his tent, having Bethel on the west, and Hai on the east. And there he built an altar unto Yahweh, and called upon the name of Yahweh. And Abram journeyed, going on still toward the south. And there was a famine in the land, and Abram went down into Egypt to sojourn there, for the famine was grievous in the land. And it came to pass, when he was come near to enter into Egypt, that he said unto Sarai his wife, Behold now, I know that you are a fair woman to look upon.
Now, as we start to get into some of these things, you're going to then notice the difference in how Yahweh deals with Abram and how Yahweh deals with Lot. Go ahead.
Therefore it shall come to pass, when the Egyptians shall see you, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they will kill me. But they will save you alive. Say, I pray you, you are my sister, that it may be well with me for your sake.
So let's not sugarcoat it. Look, baby, I'm gonna need you to lie for me. All right. Look here, I need you to say that we not together, cause these people gonna kill me. Let's not sugarcoat it. He asked his wife to lie. Read.
And my soul shall live because of you. And it came to pass that when Abram was come into Egypt, the Egyptians beheld the woman that she was very fair. The princes also of Pharaoh saw her, and commended her before Pharaoh, and the woman was taken into Pharaoh's house.
Now, this his woman taken into somebody else's house. Go ahead.
And he entreated Abram well for her sake.
Now, his wife is in somebody else's house. Now he got gifts for it. Now, if we were reading this out of some other book, they'd be like, he pimping. What the hell? What is this? This is illegal. Yahweh got his business. Read.
And he entreated Abram well for her sake. And he had sheep and oxen, and he asses, and men servants, and maid servants, and she asses, and camels.
Right. The countenance of that woman was absolutely wonderful. This man got all kind of stuff. Go ahead.
And Yahweh plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife.
Now the dude got plagues in his house for getting Abram's wife. Go ahead.
And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that you have done unto me? Why did you not tell me that she was your wife? Why said you, She's my sister, so I might have taken her to me to wife? Now therefore, behold your wife. Take her and go your way.
Take your wife and get out of here. You done brought all these plagues on me? You brought this woman in here. You done told me it was your sister. And we got all these issues that done showed up since I brought this woman in here. But Yahweh takes care of his business. Let's go to keep going. Chapter 13. Start that at verse 1.
And Abram went up out of Egypt, he and his wife, and all that he had, and Lot with him into the south.
And Abram went up out of Egypt, but now he got substance. So Yahweh not only protected Abram, he protected Sarai in another man's house, and the man wasn't even able to touch him. Yet Abram still got all the stuff. He take your cattle, your he asses, and everything. Get out of here. Take all that stuff. All that stuff I gave you. Get out of here. And take that pretty woman with you. Go ahead.
And Abram was very rich in cattle, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journeys from the south even to Bethel, onto the place where his tent had been at the beginning, between Bethel and Ai, onto the place of the altar which he had made there at the first. And there Abram called on the name of Yah.
Mm-hmm.
And Lot also, which went with Abram, had flocks and herds and tents.
Right. So he's got flocks and herds and tents. Why? Because he near Abram. That is the reason why he has anything. Yahweh has not made any agreement, covenant, or anything with Lot. None whatsoever. His biggest claim to fame, I'm with Abram. But see, as you go on, you're going to find out that sometimes people forget that they the sidekick. See, Robin can't never drive the Batmobile, okay? He will never be able to drive the Bat. You got to understand, look, man, you the sidekick. Put on your tights, the little colorful one, jump in the car, and when I tell you, pow, you punch that person. That's it. That's it. That's it. If I ever catch you in this Batmobile, it's going down. Do you understand? Me, Batman, you sidekick. You got it? Read.
And the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their substance was great, so that they could not dwell together.
So Yahweh want to separate these two so much, he gave the other dude money. Here. I'm going to give you a tall cup of get the hell on. Here you go, right here. Bye. Go. Here. Go ahead.
And there was a strife between the herdmen of Abram's cattle and the herdmen of Lot's cattle.
There's a strife because they got so much stuff, they bumping into each other. Yahweh said, I'd like to purchase your friendship, please. See, sometimes you got to just buy out a friendship. See? Somebody, they ain't trying to, whenever they owe you money, they're going to avoid you anyway. There's some friendships I have paid out. You know how much this friendship going to cost me? You need how much? 200? Here you go. They're 200. I know for a fact I ain't never going to see them again. That's good. That was money well spent. Because there ain't been nothing but a problem and a vexation of spirit. All it cost me was $200 to get you out of my life. $199.99. Friend gone. Go ahead, bro.
And the Canaanite and the Perizzite dwelt then in the land. And Abram said unto Lot, Let there be no strife, I pray you, between me and you, and between your herdmen and my herdmen, for we be brethren. Is not the whole land before you? Separate yourself, I pray you, from me. If you will take the left hand, then I will go to the right. Or if you depart to the right hand, then I'll go to the left.
Right. Now, the blessing was given unto Abram, but Abram is still giving him the choice. You go, wherever you go, I'll go to the opposite, so that there's no strife between us, so that there's peace between us. But Yahweh is the one that's orchestrating this situation, so that they can separate from one another. Go ahead.
And Lot lifted up his eyes and beheld all the plain of Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before Yahweh destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, even as the garden of Yahweh, like the land of Egypt, as you come onto Zoar. Then Lot chose him all the plain of Jordan, and Lot journeyed east, and they separated themselves the one from the other.
Right. Lot chose what he thought was the best. Now, automatically, if somebody is trying to be fair, it's all right, well, look, you know, that land right there look like it's a lot better than this land. Maybe I'll take half of it and, you know, and you get the. He wasn't interested in what was fair. He looked at, oh, that's good. You gonna let me choose? I go first. All right, well, I choose the best then. But he ain't got no blessing. Wasn't nothing given to him. These sidekick blessings. Go ahead.
Abram dwelt in the land of Canaan, and Lot dwelt in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent toward Sodom. But the men of Sodom were wicked and sinners before Yahweh exceedingly.
Right, so the land he chose looked good physically, but spiritually it was wicked. Go ahead.
And Yahweh said unto Abram, after that Lot was separated from him.
Okay, when?
After Lot was separated from him.
Okay, at when?
When he got rid of Lot.
Okay, so, all right, I need to talk to you, boy. First, he waited till he separated him from his daddy's house. Then, he separated him from Lot. He gave Lot money to get rid of him. There might be somebody that hit the lotto. And Yahweh picked all your numbers. Yeah. There you go, your number. You hit the lotto. Where am I going to go? I don't know. Just get the hell away from my servant. Go. There you go. Congratulations. Go to Bermuda somewhere. All right. Enjoy yourself. All right. Now, brother, let me talk to you. You want to talk to me? Yeah, I've been waiting to get rid of your damn sidekick. Right. Go ahead, bro.
Lift up now your eyes, and look from the place where you are northward, and southward, and eastward, and westward. For all the land which you seeth, to you will I give it, and to your seed forever.
Right, but he ain't entering into this covenant. He not telling him any of this stuff until after he caused this separation. But he told him in the beginning, I would do this unto you. Come on, Lot, let's go. You. Lot, what time will it? You. Go ahead, bro.
And I'll make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man can number the dust of the earth, then shall your seed also be numbered. Arise, walk through the land in the length of it and in the breadth of it, for I will give it unto you. Then Abram removed his tent and came and dwelt in the plain of Mamre, which is in Hebron, and built there an altar unto Yah.
All right, let's go to chapter 14, and let's start at verse 8.
Genesis chapter 14 and verse 8. And there went out the king of Sodom, and the king of Gomorrah, and the king of Admah, and the king of Zeboim, and the king of Bela, the same as Zoar. And they joined battle with them in the vale of Siddim, with Chedorlaomer, the king of Elam, and with Tidal, king of nations, and Amraphel, king of Shinar, and Arioch, king of Elasar, 4 kings with 5. And the vale of Siddim was full of slime pits, and the kings of Sodom and Gomorrah fled, and fell there. And they that remained fled to the mountain. And they took all the goods of Sodom and Gomorrah, and all their victuals, and went their way. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and departed.
So, they separated. He had the opportunity to pick whatever land that he picked. He picked the land that looked physically good. Not only was it wicked among all of these people, then he ends up in a situation where he ends up in the middle of all of this war, and now he is taken captive. Go ahead.
And there came one that had escaped and told Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt in the plain of Mamre, the Amorite, brother of Eshcol and brother of Aner, and these were confederate with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his trained servants, born in his own house, 318, and pursued them on to Dan. And he divided himself against them, he and his servants, by night, and smote them, and pursued them on to Hobah, which is on the left hand of Damascus.
So it is very clear that Yahweh knows what Lot means to Abram. They were raised in the same house as brothers. And here it even says his brother. Go ahead.
And he brought back all the goods, and also brought again his brother Lot, and his goods, and the women also, and the people. And the king of Sodom went out to meet him after his return from the slaughter of Chedorlaomer, and of the kings that were with him, at the valley of Shaveh, which is the king's dale. And Melchizedek, king of Salem, brought forth bread and wine, and he was the priest of the Most High Elohim.
So now you have a situation where this is not even Abram's situation. He goes, but it is very clear that Yahweh is protecting him in the things that he does. Now he has met Melchizedek, king of Salem, priest of the Most High Elohim. Do understand, there is no setup of Israel. There is no law. There is no anything. Yet there's a priest of the Most High. Now you're dealing with holy things in heaven. This is why we can't just go and change something because we don't like it. There was a priest before we had a priesthood. So this ain't about you. This is bigger than you. Go ahead.
And he blessed him, and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High Elohim, possessor of heaven and earth. And blessed be the Most High Elohim, which has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him tithes of all.
So here it is. He's paying tithes to Melchizedek, king of Salem, but there's no priesthood. There's no anything. There's no set up law. See, Abram was on a different level. Go ahead.
That was it.
That was a jump to, that was what, 14?
Yeah, 8 through 20.
Now let's jump to Genesis chapter 19. And let's start that at verse 12.
Genesis chapter 19 and verse 12. And the men said unto Lot, Have you here any besides?
Now, understand. Now there's about to be a destruction given in this land that this brother has chosen, that Lot has chosen, and he's about to be saved from it. Now, him being taken back the first time was Abram going to get him. But Yahweh was protecting Abram, not Lot. He just got the sidekick blessing. Go ahead.
And the men said unto Lot, Have you here any besides son-in-law, and your sons, and your daughters, and whatsoever you have in the city, bring them out of this place.
So now you got angels that have gone directly to help Lot because of destruction of the land that he has chosen. Go ahead.
For we will destroy this place, because the cry of them is waxing great before the face of Yah, and Yahweh has sent us to destroy it. And Lot went out and spake unto his sons-in-law, which married his daughters, and said, Up, get you out of this place, for Yahweh will destroy this city. But he seemed as one that mocked unto his son-in-laws. And when the morning arose, then the angels hastened Lot, saying, Arise, take your wife and your 2 daughters, which are here, lest you be consumed in the lawlessness of this city.
Right. So never mind, the ones that have moved out of the house and got married. Deal with the ones that's here. Get your stuff and leave now. Go ahead.
And while he lingered, the men laid hold upon his hand, and upon the hand of his wife, and upon the hand of his 2 daughters, Yahweh being merciful unto him, and they brought him forth and set him without the city. And it came to pass, when they had brought them forth abroad, that he said, Escape for your life. Look not behind you, neither say you in all the plain.
Neither stay you
in all the plain. Escape to the mountain, lest you be consumed.
Now, the angel has personally come for them and is telling them where to go. Go ahead.
And Lot said unto them, Oh, not so, my master.
See, this is when you don't understand you're a sidekick. See, now you want to make deals. Wait a minute, man. I'm only here because of Abram. You ain't got no deal making power here. Go out and told you to go. Read.
Behold now, your servant has found grace in your sight, and you have magnified your mercy, which you have showed unto me in saving my life. And I cannot escape to the mountain, lest some evil take me, and I die.
Right. I don't think the place that you have chosen is right. Go ahead.
Behold now, this city is near to flee unto, and it is a little one.
Yeah. I know something better than you. I mean, you just like an angel, you know. And I'm Robin. I ride on the other side of the Batmobile. I'm the sidekick. I know better. Right. Read.
Oh, let me escape thither. Is it not a little one? And my soul shall live.
Mm-hmm. My soul not gonna live going where you telling me to go, but my soul gonna live going where I want to go. Read.
And he said unto him, See, I have accepted you concerning this thing also, that I will not overthrow this city for the which you have spoken. Haste you.
Pay attention. See, I have accepted you concerning this thing, that I will not overthrow this city for the which you have spoken. Now, I ain't saying what else gonna happen, and I'm just saying I ain't gonna burn it up. Go ahead.
Haste you, escape thither, for I cannot do anything till you become thither.
I can't do anything until you get out of here. Instructions given for this man. Go ahead.
Therefore, the name of the city was called Zoar.
Now, jump to verse 29.
So something was supposed to happen to that city until he went there.
Right. See, that city was on the burn down list. Yeah, the list is still, burn that, burn that too. Oh, he want to go, okay, well, don't burn that, burn the front part of it, don't burn all of it. Read verse 29.
And it came to pass, when Elohim destroyed the cities of the plain, that Elohim remembered Abraham.
Who did he remember?
Abraham.
Okay, so he remembered Abraham. Read.
And sent Lot out of the midst of the overthrow, when he overthrew the cities in the which Lot dwelt.
Right. His whole protection ain't got a darn thing to do with him. Yet he making demands. Yet he making changes to the plan. He beating on his chest like he got something going on. Elohim remembered Lot. Why? Because he knew what Elohim remembered Abram, I'm sorry. He knew what Lot meant to Abram. So he said, look here. If I kill him, then I'm going to have to deal with you crying to me all day. So I'm going to let him live so I ain't got to listen to you cry. That's it. That is the extent of the blessing. Because I don't want to listen to my servant crying about you. Apparently, he didn't know that. So the angel offered him a blessing. He slaps the blessing in the angel's face. I don't go there. Go what? Shut it up. Tell y'all why I said no. Okay. Let's see how that work out for you. Now, in this situation, understand now, we read how Abram done lied, and his wife go in another man's house, and we know, hey, she was beautiful. He got goats, and just all kind of animals for this woman. Yet, every time the man got ready to go toward her, something happened to him. He had some kind of equipment failure or something. I don't know what happened. But anyway, Yahweh took care of that business. In this situation, Lot's wife died, and Lot ended up impregnating both of his daughters. Yet you jump back to the New Testament, and it says this righteous man vexed with their. Here is where you have innocent by association. Wife dead, slept with both of your daughters. How you not know you slept with both of your daughters? After you done got drunk one night, how you do it again? But how did that happen? Oh, that was that place that you asked to go to that was different than the place that he sent you. Oh, see, this is how sometimes you can ask for something And he said, you know what? Oh, okay. All right. You bad. I'm going to get that to you. Go ahead and go on down now. I've heard you because of this thing. It ain't going to burn physically. But spiritually, you're going to burn. Go ahead, go there. I told you go somewhere. You decided to go somewhere else. So that's something that we have to pay attention to. Let's go Genesis chapter 20, and let's start that at verse 1. So we can hear some details here.
And Abraham journeyed from thence toward the south country, and dwelt between Kadesh and Shur, and sojourned in Gerar. And Abraham said of Sarah, his wife, she's my sister. And Abimelech, king of Gerar, sent and took Sarah. But Elohim came to Abimelech in a dream by night, and said to him, Behold, you are but a dead man, for the woman which you have taken, for she is a man's wife.
Right. Now you're mad at the confusion of this dude, man. What are you talking about, man? Oh, you gonna die. Man, you think about it, what kind of dream is that? The man had a nightmare last night, man. You know what I'm saying? I saw this beautiful woman. Next thing I know, I'm dying in the dream, bro. You are but a dead man. Go ahead.
But Abimelech had not come near her. And he said, Adonai, will you slay also a righteous nation?
Now, even in this, he is stating his righteousness. Look, I have not touched this woman. And he claiming, look, hey, I'm a righteous dude. You know what I'm saying? I have not touched this woman. Read.
Said he not unto me, she's my sister?
Right. Hey, your servant lied. Go ahead.
And she, even she herself said, He's my brother. In the integrity of my heart and innocency of my hands have I done this.
Mm-hmm.
And Elohim said unto him in a dream, Yeah, I know that you did this in the integrity of your heart, for I also withheld you from sinning against me.
Uh-huh.
Therefore suffered I you not to touch her.
Right. I know you did it in the integrity of your heart, but don't get it twisted. You ain't touch her because I wouldn't let you. See? That's why you kept having equipment failure. I did that. You didn't do that on your own. That was me. So stop beating on your chest talking about you made a good decision. That was me. I wasn't letting you touch my servant's wife. Read.
Now therefore restore the man his wife, for he is a prophet, and he shall pray for you.
Right. He is a prophet. See, it's a different situation. All Lot's wife did was look back. She was a partaker in this lie with Abram. It wasn't just Abram that lied. She lied too. Mm-hmm. Yo, we are brother and sister. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's what he said. Right. Yahweh still protected both of them. This is a protection that's connected to your service. This is protection connected to what you do for Yahweh. In all of these things that we read, when you get down to the situation, he's making covenants with Abram about what he's going to do, what things he has given him. What instruction at all did Lot receive? What job did Lot have? What things were entrusted unto Lot? So in other words, I have no reason to save you at all. What do I need to preserve you for? What are you going to do? What are you doing for me? See, there's a reason to preserve Abram. So sometimes you got to sit back and ask yourself, okay, what would be the reason for Yahweh to preserve me? What do I do? What do I help to do toward his righteousness? See, Lot got confused because he's able to receive some things, but it wasn't because of him. Yahweh gave him some stuff just to separate him from his servant. Go ahead.
And you shall live. And if you restore her not, know that you shall surely die. You and all that are yours.
You and all that's yours gonna die. That's a totally different kind of protection than what was given unto Lot. Only thing he did with Lot was protect Lot. And that was because of Abram. Go ahead.
Therefore Abimelech rose early in the morning and called all his servants and told all these things in their ears, and the men were sore afraid.
Right. Jump to verse 17.
So Abraham prayed unto Elohim, and Elohim healed Abimelech and his wife and his maidservants, and they bare children. For Yahweh had fast closed up all the wombs of the house of Abimelech because of Sarah, Abraham's wife.
So not only is there a serious problem, every time there's even some good thing that would happen unto Abimelech, it ain't gonna happen. Now you got to do right by this man. Now imagine the situation. You got to do right by the man who lied to you and got your stuff. But Yahweh said the earth and the fullness therein belongs to me. All this stuff is mine. I give it to whoever I want to give it to. It's my stuff. That's that thing when we think we're giving Yahweh something. You do know it's his stuff, right? Like you think you really giving him something? Oh, I'm finna make a great thing to Yahweh. You do know that's his, right? That's why Yahshua said, hey, go down there, you're going to find an ass coat tied. Tell them that and they have need for it. Go get it. Now, you know, they had to be like, this could be like, you know, this could go either way. You know what I'm saying? We just supposed to tell them that you wanted it and you needed it. So we just going to go get it. Man, we can go to jail. You can just go down here and take nobody's stuff. Oh, and they got like real punishment back then. You know, like you steal, like you gonna know who steal, cause they show up like that right there. And you know, oh, you like to take stuff that don't belong to you. How you know that? Cause I can tell you ain't got all your fingers. Yeah, they start cutting off body parts when you start stealing. So it's real easy to spot a thief. So understand, we read some of that stuff and you don't think of how much faith it takes to just go and take somebody's animal. Man, you know how ugly that could turn out? But we just read past that and just go on. No, with some faith included in doing that. Let's go to 2 Samuel chapter 18.
You know, brother, with the same situation with Abraham and Sarah, that same story there. I had to explain that to someone, what was it, last week about the situation of the lies. Like, no, but they were telling the truth. He himself turned around and explains it to
Explained it, right. It's still a mess. I don't care how you, because it was the pretenses of how they told it. Mm-hmm. Right. Because the bottom line of the question was, is this your wife or not? Mm-hmm. He could have said, yeah, it's the, you know, the daughter of my father, but not the daughter. But it's my wife though. That part they conveniently, that's called lying by omission. See, that's what we do. When we tell people a part of a situation, but we conveniently leave out what we did. Man, I was just standing there, man, just came over there and punched me right in my face. What you do? Nothing? Right. Then you talk to somebody else, well, man, they set fire to my car. Excuse me? So you left that part out of the story? Oh, I forgot to tell you I said they go on fire. Yes! You forgot to tell me what you told me. They just walked up and punched you in your mouth. Make you think that this person is just completely evil. But you left out the gasoline and the matches that you put on their roof. You conveniently forgot that part. How convenient. Right. Lying by omission. That's why you have to learn how to ask the right question. Go ahead, brother.
2 Samuel chapter 18 and verse 31.
Yeah.
And behold, Cushai came, and Cushai said, Tidings, my master the king, for Yahweh has avenged you this day to all them that rose up against you.
Now, I understand there's a situation where we know that Dawid was listed as a good king in Israel. But Dawid had this situation, of course, where he took another man's wife and put that man in the heat of the battle so that that man would die. Because of that, Yahweh ended up pronouncing some evil in Dawid's house that would be there the rest of his days. Now he has a situation where his son has risen up against him and even forced him out of the city because he really does not want to hurt his son. So in the process of not wanting to hurt his son, everybody else is getting hurt. Everybody in Israel is having to go through this situation because he does not want to suffer the loss of his child. And this is where things get interesting in how you deal with things could cause you some issues later on down the road. Go ahead.
And the king said unto Cushai, Is the young man Absalom safe? And Cushai answered, The enemies of my master the king, and all that rise up against you to do you hurt, be as that young man is. And the king was much moved, and went up to the chamber over the gate, and wept. And as he went, thus he said, O my son Absalom, O my son Absalom, with Elohim I had died for you. O Absalom, my son, my son.
So now it's this situation. Understand, all these people have put their kids in jeopardy to go to war against their own brethren. Now, this is judgment because of some things that Dawid has done years back. But his countenance is now down because of his son. But he's not thinking about everybody else who lost children as well. Go ahead.
And it was told Joab, Behold, the king weeps and mourns for Absalom. And the victory that day was turned into mourning unto all the people. For the people heard say that how the king was grieved for his son.
Mm-hmm.
And the people gat them by stealth that day into the city, as people being ashamed steal away when they flee into battle.
So they can't even celebrate a win because of his countenance. Go ahead.
But the king covered his face, and the king cried with a loud voice, O my son Absalom, O Absalom, my son, my son. And Joab came into the house to the king and said, You have shamed this day the faces of all your servants, which this day have saved your life, and the lives of your sons and of your daughters, and the lives of your wives, and the lives of your concubines, in that you loveth your enemies and hateth your friends. For you have declared this day that you regardeth neither princes nor servants. For this day I perceive that if Absalom had lived and all we had died this day, then it had pleased you well.
Right. And this is basically what his countenance is testifying. See, a lot of times we're so caught up in what it is we think, feel, and believe in what we got going on, you don't understand what it's doing to everybody else around you. So he's about to destroy the whole kingdom because he's worried about his loss, what I feel, what is going on with me right now. Yeah, but you in charge of some stuff. And what you're doing right now is affecting everybody else that's around you. Go ahead.
Now therefore arise, go forth, and speak comfortably unto your servant.
Those that have put their life in jeopardy to make sure that you didn't die. Instead of focusing on your loss, how about congratulate these people for the things that they've done? Go ahead.
For I swear by Yahweh, if you go not forth, there will not tarry one with you this night, and that will be worse unto you than all the evil that befell you from your youth until now. Then the king arose and sat in the gate, and they told unto all the people, saying, Behold, the king does sit in the gate. And all the people came before the king, for Israel had fled, every man to his tent.
Now they're coming back because he has shown something different on his countenance. Now understand, the guy who's telling him this, Joab, this is a very interesting part, because we have a tendency that we want to listen to people who we think are of a certain level. Joab is absolutely wicked. Absolutely horrible. Okay? But what Joab's saying is right. That don't mean he's right as a person. But what he's saying right there at that particular moment is right. And he's telling him, the little nasty look on your face is affecting why these people went to their tent instead of rejoicing at a great win. And we have to consider how many people would come up and ask you about the word if your countenance was welcoming. How many people would just come up and sit and talk and eat with you if your countenance was welcoming? See, one thing about what me and Kish do, we be around everybody. And I'll look up and a white guy with a beard this big will come up and just start talking to me. People of all nationalities just come up and start talking. Now, why they come and talk to me and wouldn't talk to the guy beside me? Something about the countenance looked approachable. And you would think, wait a minute, it's a big hairy, it's a hairy-faced dude. He looked a little frightening. No, they walk right up and start talking. So sometimes when we look up and we're not being approached, you have to look at what you are displaying in your countenance. Is it inviting or is it repelling? Because at the end of the day, it's Yahweh's word that's not being talked about. So at the end of the day, who suffers is not you or me, it's Yahweh. Because when those people just come up to me and start talking, to me, everything lead back to Yahweh. I don't care if your tie flat. You know, everybody me of Israel, look here, they're like, how the hell my flat tie remind you of Israel? At the end of the day, we talking about Yahweh if we gonna keep talking. You understand what I'm saying to you? I don't care what that is you had a problem with. Your alternator could go out. That reminds me of Yahweh. You know, the way he put that power in there. Come on, brother, let's hook up these cables. When I'm done, we talking about Yahweh. And here's the thing. They came up to me. I didn't go up to them. I didn't go to them saying such and such. They came to me. So then when I start talking about Yahweh, my Elohim, you brought the conversation. They came. But see, there's something that is to be said about a welcoming countenance. See, there are certain things that we as individuals have to learn what gets us into a place. Like Brother Kish was saying, when you go to certain places and you encounter different people, I had to learn to deal with certain things. And the more difficult a person is, the nicer I end up being. But I have trained my brain that I'm actually going through a series of questions in my brain. As I'm going through the situation and the person is being a complete butt, there's this smile that comes over my face, and it is confusing them. Because in my head, I'm like, I ain't never going to have to see your crazy lip again. No, oh my God, this is absolutely wonderful. I can't wait. And then meanwhile, they I'm like, oh my God, this is wonderful. And they're like, what is wrong? He is crazy. They're trying their best to tick me off. And I'm counting the seconds. Once I am done with you today, I will never have to see you again. This is wonderful. See, that helps my countenance. Because I know once I'm done with this situation, I'm not going to have to deal with this individual. But see, I had to put that, okay, because otherwise I start focusing on the mess that's in front of me. And then as you start focusing on that mess, now their countenance, change your countenance, and now it's two angry people. Now what happens when you leave that person? Now you've taken that angry countenance and presented it to somebody else. Now you wonder, why are you looking at me like that? Because you're looking at them like that. Well, they good. What, I stink or something? Nobody going to come sit here? No, your countenance is absolutely horrible. That's why, because you've taken the negative situation from there and brought it and put it here. And that was something that when you have multiple situations, you have to figure out, hey, I can't take the negative situation from here and bring it here. I'm already starting this relationship off with this individual at a negative point. Why? Not because of anything they did, because of something I encountered over there, which has absolutely nothing to do with what's right here. And what happened if Yahweh needs you to do something with that individual? What happened if that was your job? You was the only one there in that situation that knew the word, and Yahweh sent them to you. But your countenance was so bad that they decided not to approach you. Now, you don't know you ever did anything wrong because they never approached you. But here's Yahweh's problem. I sent somebody, and they were supposed to talk to you at 4:14 p.m. Why? At 5 o'clock, I found out that conversation didn't happen. Can you explain to me why? You were the only servant there. I sent that person to you for a reason. Now, why didn't that conversation happen? You don't even know you didn't do something, because it ain't like Yahweh told you what you were supposed to do. There's certain things that you expect out of servants. When you got a servant and it's their job to clean the floor, you don't have to come in there and tell them to clean the floor. In the morning when you show up, you expect the floor to be clean because that's their job. If the servant cook food, you expect that the food is cooked when you get there. Why ain't no food in there? Ain't that what I pay you for? So I had to come and tell you that I wanted food at 4:14? See, we have to learn what things, when you learn enough about yourself, you can create situations that help you deal with things. My entire life growing up, I noticed that my mother never turned off lights. I never really understood why. But it was like never dark in my house. But my mother had a bout with depression. She noticed that when it's dark, she felt dark. So when she had to go talk to somebody and talk those things out and figure that out. We had the highest light bill in town, Jack. She never turned off any lights. It was to this day. If I go and open my mother's house, ain't nobody there, almost every light in the house is on. And I was like, wow, this lady just got bread. She just throwing money there. She just give donations to the Georgia Power. This is amazing. But she said, no, I realized after talking to a therapist and after going through certain things, being in a dark house caused my mood to decline. And because of that, I don't want to enter into a dark house. I don't want to be in a dark house. There are lights everywhere. She learned what works for her. So I don't go over her house cutting off lights. I go in my house, I be cutting lights off. Hey, cut that off. Y'all depressed, go outside. There's a lot of sun out there. God got light. But I don't cut none of her lights off because that helps her mood. But she learned what works for her. And that helps her countenance. But it's amazing, though. You have to wonder how many people who never went to a therapist, who never talked to anybody, how many of them are sitting in a dark house depressed, not knowing that all they need to do is cut the lights on. That's all they got to do. Flip the light switch on. You paid the bill. Hit the switch. And if it helps your countenance, it's worth whatever that little extra little dollars a month. Let's go to Proverbs chapter 18. Go ahead, bro.
You know, brother, we're already fighting an uphill battle with the people that we encounter anyway, because 9 out of 10 of them people have encountered the negative side of Israelites before they come across any of us.
You are
and like
so
you
right.
say, who is to say that at that point in time it's not our job? We come in with the wrong countenance of what they've already encountered. They going like, hey, nah, they're all the same.
Right.
And we went out passing out lit and encountered that.
You got it.
Young lady, we walked up to the car and she just went off. No, I don't want to talk to y'all. I don't want to talk to y'all. Y'all Israelites ain't right. I was like, whoa. What you talking about? No, y'all. After I calmed her down and talked to her, she said, all right. Okay, I can see y'all ain't the same. I had to let her know, no, we don't agree with them.
Right. But see, it was already aggravated by a previous situation. And who's to say that that's the only thing that you were supposed to do for Yahweh? All right, I need you to calm this person down right here. But if your countenance matches the countenance of the people that they ran into, all they got to do is see a frown. Understand, they just got cursed out on the side of the road with somebody with a Bible in their hand and a bunch of purple on. Now, all you have to do to run them away is this. That's it. Now consider that. You ain't even thinking about what you display on your face. That person just got cussed out the day before. Now Yahweh counting on you. And here you go. Boom. That person's salvation is out of the window now. That was their only chance to hear. He was counting on you. You don't know what hell they just been through? Got called all kind of names by a dude holding a Bible. He was counting on you. Now, how much longer is it going to take for that person to ever hear the word? And will they ever hear the word? And now here come the real question. Will Yahweh account that loss unto you? Is it now a strike against your salvation? Proverbs chapter 18, and let's start that at verse 4.
The words of a man's mouth are as deep waters, and the wellspring of wisdom as a flowing brook. It is not good to accept the person of the wicked, to overthrow the righteous in judgment. A fool's lips enter into contention, and his mouth calls for strokes.
Am I my brother's keeper? You can tell the countenance by the words that came out. Go ahead.
A fool's mouth is his destruction, and his lips are the snare of his soul. The words of a talebearer as his wounds, and they go down into the innermost parts of the belly. He also that is slothful in his work is brother to him that is a great waster. The name of Yahweh is a strong tower. The righteous runs into it and is safe. The rich man's wealth is his strong city, and as an high wall in his own conceit. Before destruction, the heart of a man is haughty, and before honor is humility.
Yeah, right before destruction, the heart of man is haughty. Because everybody feel like they're right. Until Yahweh do something. But why does it have to get to that? Go ahead.
He that answers a matter before he hears it, it is folly and shame unto him.
That's why you have to let things take their course. See, you hear a situation, this person say one thing, that person say one thing. Just hold on. You say, well, that's just one person against one person. It's not other witnesses. Just wait. What happens is Yahweh going to allow that situation to happen with multiple people in multiple different places. There go your witnesses. See, when I first got kicked out of school, I went home. I told my mom, I said, hey, mom, them folk tripping. When I got kicked out of second school, I said, mom, them folk tripping. I got kicked out of third school. I told mama, them folk right now, they real, they extra tripping. She said, baby, it can't be everybody. Everybody can't be tripping. I don't think some people have had that conversation. It can't be everybody. And you talk to some people, everybody doing this. Everybody, they got a problem with everybody. See, I've been in that seat. Everybody, every school was tripping. I was able to go to that fifth one. Because at the end, I had to go home. She said, baby, you got kicked out again? Yep. I said, Mom, I be tripping. Now, it's like, yeah, you at the house, but I tell you what, there's some progress made. See, a lot of people didn't see that progress right there. You know, they telling her, well, Amina, your boy is crazy. He ain't going to be worth for nothing. But she saw the progress. No, this time, he said, Mama, I be tripping. No, that's progress. Now, she did got to take me across town somewhere to go to school, but she saw progress there because I didn't come home with that same thing. They be tripping. Mama, they tripping. Mama, they done tripped out again. Mama, these people, them and them. It's them and them. It's all them and them fault, Mama. She heard the difference. That's when something changed in the countenance because something changed in the wording that proceeded out of my mouth. Instead of blaming it on everybody else, it was time to take responsibility. And only when you take responsibility can you make a change. You can't make a change blaming everybody else for every problem in your life. Go ahead, bro.
Verse 14. The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity, but a wounded spirit, who can bear?
The spirit of a man will sustain his infirmity. But if your spirit is wounded, how is it going to sustain the infirmity? Go ahead.
The heart of the prudent gets knowledge, and the ear of the wise seeks knowledge. A man's gift makes room for him, and brings him before great men. He that is first in his own cause seems just, but his neighbor comes and searches him.
Right. He that is first in his own cause seems just. Don't just listen to the first story you hear and think that that is the correct individual. Because some people are running to come and tell you they virgin. Just wait for a minute. Go ahead.
The lot causeth contentions to cease, and parteth between the mighty. A brother offended is harder to be won than a strong city. And their contentions are like the bars of a castle.
A brother offended is harder to be won. So if somebody has been given the word in a strange manner, it's going to be very, very difficult to convince that person that this word is something that they need to deal with. That Yahweh is somebody that they need to deal with after they have heard all of these strange things in a strange way. And then they perceive that the countenance upon you is the same as them. And that may not be what all is in you. But you have to think, this person has been through a traumatic situation. The only way for them to assess whether or not you are somebody that they can approach to is by looking at your countenance. And if you're looking like a junkyard dog, like you finna bite them on the leg, like, I ain't asking them about no Bible. What? Hey, you had your shot? Well, I don't know. Read, bro.
You know, with the countenance, we all got to realize that we need to work on ourselves while we're still able. You know, I think it was last year I was talking to my mom as she was getting older, and she says, you know, I'm working on getting older and better. I don't want to be older and bitter.
Mm-hmm.
And we have to pay attention to that.
Mm-hmm. And I have encountered a few, people in the, they call it the OBB club, the old bitter. I ain't gonna tell you what the other B is. The old bitter, the OBBC club, and people do whatever they want in their life. But my mama is always tell me, it's a scorekeeper in the sky. So you put out whatever you're gonna put out. Just don't be surprised when it show back up. And the problem is, it ain't gonna show back up when you all physically bodied and able. See, beauty fades. Ain't nobody gonna be beautiful forever. Sooner or later, you gonna get old and wrinkly too. And your power gonna decline. Now, if all them 19-year-old troubles show up when you 72, guess what? You can see them coming and still can't swing at them. It tearing you up. What's happening? Oh, this is just the same stuff you put out. The problem is you are not able to fight back now. The Bible says when you cease to steal, they shall steal from you. When you cease to do evil, evil shall come to you. So Yahweh just pausing. While everybody think that he agrees with what they doing, all he doing is pausing. Waiting until you slow down. And then he gonna give you somebody that was just as slick as you. And you can see what they doing and still can't stop it. Right. Righteous judgment. Go ahead, bro.
A man's belly shall be satisfied with the fruit of his mouth, and with the increase of his lips shall he be filled.
Mm-hmm.
Death and life are in the power of the tongue, and they that love it shall eat the fruit thereof. Whoso finds a wife finds a good thing, and obtains favor of Yahweh. The poor useth entreaties, but the rich answers roughly. A man that has friends must show himself friendly, and there is a friend that sticketh closer than a brother.
All right. That is all that we're going to do for today. We want to make sure that you guys do remember our friends in California in your prayers. They had 2 earthquakes out there, and I did see Brother Hananiah's communication that there was another one, I think, like this morning. Pray that Yahweh protect all of our members, because we have members everywhere. So we pray that Yahweh does protect you guys from those things. We know that some things have to happen. We know that some things are going to happen and some things are going to increase. But we pray that Yahweh will protect his servants as he does what he does. That's all that we're going to do. Hold on. That's all that we're going to do for today. Remember the Sabbath to keep it holy. Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom.